All right, Jeremiah 10 through 12 to finish out our week. Where do you go for wisdom? Judah was going to the nations that surrounded them. Now, here's the general logic. Those nations seem to be successful in ways, so their gods must work for them. So maybe they'll work for us too. But the problem Jeremiah kind of cites, and again, it's not the only time in the prophets we see this. The problem with self-made gods is, well, first of all, they're not Yahweh. And so they didn't create anything. They are created. And so following them for wisdom isn't wise at all. I mean, it's like Isaiah kind of, to me, has one of the best kind of pictures of this. It's like you chop down a tree, you make half of it into an idol and use the other half for firewood. It was the same tree. How powerful is that God going to be? Really? Anyways, Jeremiah gets told in chapter 11, don't even bother praying for the people of Judah. They're not interested in following me, Yahweh, or being in covenant with him. They've not just rebelled against covenant relationship, but they just simply don't desire it anymore. They don't desire what God is saying. They don't desire to have a relationship with God. And not even God can have a relationship with beings that don't want to be in relationship with him. God doesn't force things. But what Jeremiah struggles with, as we see in kind of chapter 12, is the reality that sometimes unfaithful people flourish, which kind of goes counterintuitive. I mean, wait a second, like they're walking against God, they're hurting other people, and yet they're receiving what feels like, what looks like blessing. Their lives are flourishing, their crops, their wealth is advancing. And Jeremiah goes, how long, God, will that continue? And let's be honest, I think that's a question we ask ourselves sometimes. We wonder about, or we feel that it's just not right. There's a lack of justice here, God. I mean, you see people who are more than just apathetic towards God, but actually they're intentional about harming others. And sometimes they do it even, stating that they've been appointed by God to do so. Just think of right now what's going on in Ukraine. I mean, what Vladimir Putin is doing and what he has instigated and continued. And he's like, why, God, is he still in charge? Jeremiah is just kind of going, why, God, do things like this happen? We see evil people succeed, grow wealthy, have long life, and we wonder at the justice of God. Or, God, why haven't you brought justice upon them? God's answer to Jeremiah, judgment's coming. Those who sow evil will reap what they sow. But what is coming for them is actually, for Jeremiah, more than what even Jeremiah may have wanted. Right? Jeremiah is talking about seeing his nation, covenant people going, God, why are these evil people in charge? Just, clear them out of the way, or, but God's going, no, the next step, judgment that's needed here is exile. And for us today, we can look at a Vladimir Putin, or we can look at others that just are profiting. I think of drug dealers, those that prey on women and children for trafficking purposes. Well, men too, but just traffickers. I mean, there's all sorts of people who profit and from preying on other people, causing addiction or maintaining an addiction. And that's just another type of dynamic. And we can go, God, bring your judgment. God, bring justice. Well, the next full stage, the next stage of God's judgment beyond what we're in today is Jesus' return and final judgment. And so we need to realize that when we're asking God to bring his justice down in full, it also includes that there are people who will not have any further chance to respond to the invitation to God's kingdom. They will be condemned not just for a lifetime, but for an eternity. And we also need to remember that if God punished all sin immediately, we wouldn't be here ourselves. And so again, we hold these things in tension as followers of Jesus. We call out for justice, and yet we also need to be praying that those who do evil, even those who do evil, would have opportunity to see not just the error of their ways, but the loss that their way is causing for others. And they too would confess and repent as we have and begin to learn the way of Jesus, to maybe even have a chance to undo some of the evil they have done. Like Paul. Heavy spot to leave with perhaps for a Friday. It's Jeremiah. There's going to be some heavy moments. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.